Joining us now is Oji Okpe, also known as Jinx, also known as Ojinika.
Really? I wasn't expecting that. You will never stop surprising me.
I'm sitting in the man's chair. I've got to do him proud.
You're doing it right.
At least attempt to.
You're doing. I love your floral. You look
thank you.
Gorgeous.
So do you,
thank
as
you.
Always.
Thank
What's
you.
new?
Thank you. Good morning, Rufai. How are you?
Morning,
Yeah.
Great as always.
How's it going this morning?
Good.
We are missing Dr. Vati today. Well, all right. Good morning to you, viewers. Here are some of the stories that are trending across the globe. In the United States, a suburban prosecutor announced on Tuesday that Andrew Cuomo, former New York governor, won't be facing criminal charges stemming from allegations by two women, including a state trooper, that he planted unwanted kisses on their cheeks. It is the latest in a series of decisions about whether a raft of sexual assault and harassment claims against Cuomo will end up in criminal court. In France, authorities have shut down the Great Mosque of Beauvais following its imam's radical sermons defending jihadism. Authorities said the sermons at the mosque called jihadist fighters heroes and incited hatred and violence. On December 12th, the country's interior minister, Gerald Darmanin, announced that he will begin a process to close down the mosque because the imam was targeting Christians, homosexuals, and Jews in his sermons. In Ukraine, dozens of civilians are said to have joined the country's military in a bid to defend the territorial integrity of their nation in the event of a Russian invasion. Photos uploaded on social media show civilians holding wooden replicas of Kalashnikov rifles while taking part in military exercises. In April, Russia deployed around 100,000 troops on Ukraine's border. In Gambia, the country's Truth, Reconciliation and Repatriation Commission has found Yahya Jammeh, Gambia's former president, liable for the killing of West African migrants, including 9 Nigerians. The ex-president was also found liable for the prosecution and unlawful arrest of Gambian journalists, the killing of 17 civilians, sexual violence, and torture of persons accused of being witches and wizards. The commission has also recommended the prosecution of Jammeh and payment of compensation to the victims for the crimes said to have taken place in 2005. Under sports, Leicester City's super sub, Ademola Lookman, scored the only goal as the Foxes beat Liverpool 1-0 on Tuesday night. The lone goal by the 24-year-old British Nigerian lifted Leicester to 9th place in the Premier League, while Liverpool are now 6 points behind league leaders Manchester City. Finally, under entertainment, the trailer for The Batman has been released, and it offers a deeper look into the relationship between Robert Pattinson's Dark Knight and Zoe Kravitz, who plays Catwoman. The Batman opens in theaters on March 4th, 2022. Well, let's begin what's trending with former President Olusegun Obasanjo's response to Edwin Clark, Ijaw leader representing the Niger Delta region, who had reportedly said Obasanjo's hatred against the Niger Delta people was disappointing. The comments came after an altercation ensued between the former president and the National Secretary of Ijaw National Congress over resource control at a recent peace meeting. Edwin Clark quoted Section 140 of the 1963 Constitution, which he claimed provided that natural resource found in a region is to be controlled by the people of the area. While in a letter on Tuesday addressed to Edwin Clark, Obasanjo said that the provision did not imply that resources found in any region belonged to the people there, further stating that he had always stood for equity and justice in the Federation, but that tribal allegiance had to be suppressed for the state to emerge. Well, let's take some reactions following this story. We were tribal before we became states, and we're even doing better before we became states. It is not about the progress of Nigeria, but the progress of the people living in it, and tribes is the only way. Well, another user wrote, Obasanjo and his many ideas belong to the dustbin of history. It is the tribes that are supposed to be responsible for the creation and management of the nation state, suppressing them in order to allow the existence of an unknown foreign entity called Nigeria is what the British did. If anyone wishes the Nigerian state well, the person should know that 1, we are no longer under British colonial rule. 2, being a free people, we should determine our current and future existence democratically by having rights to participate or not to participate. Well, finally, another user wrote, one day we will all wake up to realize that the real enemies of Nigerians are the politicians, civil servants, and all public servants that consume 80% of annual budget. They are less than 5% of our 200 million population. When we are educated to know this, we will love each other. Tundu Abiola, over to you while I catch my breath, as always.
I thoroughly enjoyed your selection of tweets, OG. We had this conversation with Mr. Fene during the newspaper review. I couldn't disagree more vehemently with former President Obasanjo. But of course he's going to sound as he does. Of course he's going to be unitary in his thinking. I've said it here on numerous occasions. I really believe that as a nation, we dropped the ball in the Fourth Republic. We had a clean slate, washed with blood, I might add. And what do? We go back and resurrect the 1979 Constitution. We go back and we bring former military dictators, and we call them president. And we wonder why we are where we are today. First, Obasanjo being elected, well, he wasn't elected. And now, former General Buhari. You know, I have a lot of respect for generals. You know, I have a soft spot for generals, but not as presidents. They have their place.
You always
but
say
not
that.
not ruling in a democracy. So of course, President Obasanjo does not understand democratic nuances such as self-determination, that buzzword that we have. He will not understand resource control. He'll be thinking about the good of the state. What is the state without its people? So his position, I really completely reject, quite frankly. And it's so sad. We should, if we're going to look back, harken back to that 1979 Constitution, why was the minority, the dissenting report not considered? The dissenting opinions of the late Dr. Bala Usman and Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, which I think is required reading for every Nigerian, is so powerful. That is, for me, would have been the foundation upon which to build the Fourth Republic. Until we bin this wretched 1999 Constitution, we're really going nowhere. Yeah. And I also made this point earlier about the issue with Zamfara State and the perception in the minds of the public. You know, there was a story that made the headlines at some point that the CBN was going to get 5 billion naira worth of gold from Zamfara State, as if Zamfara State owned the gold and will now, you know, trade with Nigeria, which is the opposite of how our oil and gas resources from the Niger Delta are treated. That is treated as belonging to Nigeria, and then they just get that flicked a little 13% derivation, you know. Yeah. But then the minister had to come out and, you know, debunk that and correct the governor of Zamfara, Matawale, that you don't own your gold. Nigeria does, because we now have Section 44, subsection 3. But the fact that that perception existed, the fact that that attitude existed, this arrogance, as if we are the owners of the gold because we are northern. And that is also another colonial hang-up that we still see in this country, the sense that we are not operating a level playing field. Right. Chief Edwin Clark's submission would really have been a non-issue if certain things are not palpable. You'd have to be stupid, you'd have to be retarded to think that in Nigeria we're all treated equally. We are not. So this is why these issues continue to happen. The 1999 Constitution, it has to go. We have to go back to where we started. One is so much better.
Yes, absolutely. Rufai.
I mean, very well made points, Tundu. And Oji, the truth has to be said. And the sad reality is that we don't tell ourselves the truth enough. Let's even dial back historically. We were a group of people before we became a nation. When the British started their incursion here, there was a dispute between two people, Kosoko and Akito, in 1861. Somebody called the British in to come and help him avenge or fight. And guess what the British did? They collected Lagos for him. They took him aboard the ship just here at the marina called HMS Prometheus. And his famous words about Kitoye was, "Mi ofe kotore." But the British said, no, we own Lagos. That's why Lagos became a colony in 1861. When it became a colony, the resource in Lagos was used for Lagos. It remained in Lagos. It was a trading hub. All the proceeds for the ports were used in Lagos. Afterwards, and the first amalgamation happened in 1906. The British then had fought on. They've conquered some other parts of the southwest. They had the first amalgamation. They brought Lagos colony and put it with the Southern Protectorates. They had the first amalgamation in 1906. As at then, Lagos still remained a colony. The resource for Lagos was used in Lagos. It remained in Lagos. Afterwards, in 1914, they conquered the Northern Protectorate, brought it in. The resource for Lagos was still in Lagos. The resource for the Western region remained in the Western region. Up till 61, people born in Lagos from 1860 carried British passports because Lagos was different. Chief Alhaji Femi Okunu wrote a book, Gedegbe Lekowa, saying Lagos stands on its own. The Western region stood on its own, and people could develop at their own pace. We forget that Lagos was not part of the Western region. The Western region terminated at certain points in Lagos, but the entirety of Lagos was not part of the Western region. It stood on its own. It's got its own resource until state creation started. The 63 Constitution spells it out. People from different areas must be able to use their resources to develop their own selves. The golden days of Nigeria today was that 63 era, where you had the likes of Michael Okpara in the East, developed the East at his own pace with the resource he had. Obafemi Awolowo with cocoa, the North could do their thing at their own pace. And that's what worked for this country. But the military came in and scuttled all of that, tried to lump everybody together, referred to a Wilkins report, and created more states. But what happened? We've seen it doesn't work.
No.
This ideology that everything goes to Abuja, it doesn't work. We all remember the incident of the 90s.
Yeah.
How the agitation started in the Niger Delta region, because a lot of people, when they went for the Abacha Man rally, saw the affluence of Abuja.
That they pay for.
That they pay for. And you expect them. So what is Chief Olusegun Obasanjo even saying here? Because I don't get it. You see massive, partiality. It's always skewed towards one area.
Yeah.
Today, you were talking about gold. Nobody has talked about how they can put, how much is gold put in this budget we are going to have this year. So what is he saying? We know this history.
Yeah,
please, people that the resource is in their own area, they should govern it. That's what the Constitution says. They can put a certain amount in the federal purse. The problem is that the federal government is too powerful. The 79 Constitution makes the president too powerful.
Yeah. Well said, both of you. We shall take another story. An inspirational story from the Governor of Benue State, Samuel Ortom, who gifted his former employer, a commercial bus driver, a hilux van in celebration of Christmas. At an event over Christmas, the governor narrated his experience as a conductor while working at the motor park with his former boss, Mnenge Mtenave. The governor said after he dropped out of primary school, his former boss invited him to work as a conductor and also taught him how to drive. Well, according to the governor, his former boss was kind to him and entrusted him with his finances. He said that he decided to celebrate the former boss by presenting him with the van and promised to support him with any trade of his choice in appreciation for the foundation that was laid for him. I thought this was such a cute story. I mean, I saw it trending over social media. Way to go, Governor Ortom. This is so inspirational. A way to show appreciation. But I think this happened in the 80s. And I just also wonder if they just connected after such a long time.
No, I doubt that that's the case.
Yeah.
Because if you had a former prodigy or former, employee who became governor, you would definitely reach out and call now. I can bet you anything they didn't just get back in touch.
Yeah.
But it's still really, really nice. It's a beautiful gesture. It's really kind. Because in a world of ingrates, Not everybody pays kindness with kindness. So it's actually really good that he did that. And beyond that, for me, the story is also about social mobility. Look at where Governor Ortom started and look at where he is today. And we often think in Nigeria that you're doomed to, dwell in whatever socio-economic class that you're born into, but you have outliers like Governor Ortom that actually show what is possible in Nigeria. What I would just want to see is that it shouldn't be outliers. It should be a chance for everybody, every Nigerian, no matter where you were born, to access every opportunity to better yourself and end up wherever you choose, in politics, in business, right at the top of your field. So for me, social mobility is key here.
Yes, I thought it was also quite humbling that he was able to tell everyone that he used to be a conductor, Rufai.
No, you don't despise humble beginnings.
Yeah,
I'm not shaming
I love it.
I mean, like Tunu said, you don't despise humble beginnings. And social mobility is key. Just let me piggyback on your point. And the greatest way to activate or facilitate that social mobility is education. And that's why we keep calling on the government to invest in education, socioeconomic welfare and development of its people. Because just imagine, I'm not sure it is the same being a school dropout, that from primary school that Governor Ortom used all these years to rise up his way. He would have done some other remedial courses.
Of course.
He would have improved himself.
He speaks well.
Absolutely.
So it's because of the education he added, despite being a primary school dropout, that has helped him a great deal. And I think one other instructive lesson is, do not let your background put your back to the ground. Despite where you start from, keep moving, keep fighting. It is worth it. And it's not only Governor Atta. The president of Brazil, one of the most famous politicians, former president of Brazil, Inácio Lula da Silva, also came out of the trenches. He finished school in primary school, he couldn't go further. Then he started working in a factory. But he became president and was really adored by his people. So don't let your background put your back on the ground. It doesn't matter where you start from. Keep fighting.
Very inspirational. Well done, Governor Ortom. Good job. We'll take our final story in Bulgaria. Highlighting predictions of Vangelina Gostrova, who is also known as the Nostradamus of the Balkans, whose visions are said to be 85% correct, some of which include the death of Princess Diana and the dissolution of the Soviet Union. It is reported that some of her visions now include 6 terrifying prophecies for 2022. Well, the blind visionary, who allegedly predicted 9/11 and Brexit, predicted another pandemic, which will be discovered in Serbia in 2022. She also anticipated that this pandemic will be caused by a frozen virus that will be released by climate change, and that there will be famine in India where temperatures will reach 50 degrees, causing locusts to attack the crops. It is also believed that Vangelina's predictions will continue to come true in spite of her death in 1996. Vangelina had also predicted that Earth's orbit will change in 2023. Astronauts will be traveling to Venus in 2028, and Muslims will rule Europe in 2043, and that the end of the universe will be in 5079. Ugh, this is so scary. I know you don't. I was just saying earlier that if she was in Ghana, or she were in Ghana, if she was alive, she'll be thrown in jail, right? Remember we took that story yesterday. She will be right in jail. Well, may her soul rest in peace, but how scary. But if she was able to predict all of those things, the death of Princess Diana, Brexit, I know, but it just seems so, it just seems so
She came to my attention years ago when she predicted that Obama will be president, that they'll have a black president, and she didn't say 44th president, but there was a black. But she said he would be the last president, which he clearly is not. Trump, Biden. She made a prediction about Trump as well, dying or something horrendous. He's very much alive. So with all these people, like we discussed this yesterday, a broken clock is right twice a day. They are going to have some predictions that are accurate. But if you're really a prophet or a psychic or whatever you want to call yourself, you're supposed to have a 100% accuracy rate. Yes, exactly. And some of her predictions, though, to go into the substance of it, only the Father knows the day and the hour that his world is going to end. This lady knows nothing. Let's start there. The other ones that she said are actually entirely possible. I mean, I don't necessarily believe she has a gift, but climate change, we all know, is a threat. Climate change causing a virus or whatever, well, climate change is an issue. Causing a famine is an issue. That's entirely possible. We've started to reap the consequences of our abuse of planet Earth. But as for prophecies of doom, miss me with that.
Always, like you said, prophecies of doom are not usually what you should subscribe to.
The only prophecy you should go with, you're going to do well in 2022.
Yes, absolutely.
I can debunk all those prophecies. History happens twice. She said Islam is going to rule Europe. That has happened before.
Yes,
we had the Sheikhs that are godson in history. What is new? She said that the world is going to end in 5079. People have said the world is going to end so many times. Don't believe them. Just like they said the Mayan calendar ended in 2012, the world was going to end, and that never happened. You remember in 1993 in this country, some people predicted that the world was going to end. People were going to sell their items and their belongings.
I remember Y2K.
You remember Y2K? They said that. She said Indian weather is going to go about 50 degrees. Didn't it happen this year? Did it happen this year or last year that the weather, the temperature was so high and it caused a lot of problems and disruptions in India? So there's nothing else of the moon. People go to pick out all these things just to be sensational. Show me the empirical evidence of how I'm writing all those things. They said the Iron Curtain will fall. People have predicted that the Iron Curtain was going to fall many years. It was always going to fall. When the likes of Brezhnev had died, and Andropov and all the Soviet leaders were dying in quick succession.
I always wonder what they think when they're about to do the predictions.
They just want to scare people. Just like they pushed Nostradamus too. Nostradamus and all of that. It's just, please. Emancipate yourself, your mind, guard your heart with all diligence. These people are just manipulating and stuff.
I love that.
God loves you. That's
thank you, Audrey.
Thank you, both of you. I hope Dr. Abati will be back soon. I can't wait, right? Well, that's all I have for you guys on What's Trending today. See you tomorrow.